Yeah, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Luka Vuskovic got on the score sheet again over the weekend against Club Brugge.
What a goal. It's Club Brugge as well. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
this guy is a phenomenon.
A scissor kick or a bicycle kick.
He is a phenomenon.
This guy, exactly. If you're all fed up of the doom and gloom of Tottenham Hotspur, just go and watch Westerlo. You can watch Alfie Devine and Luka Vuskovic absolutely ball out. Did he score as well?
Devine.
Did he score?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I think they finished 3-3. I think he also scored. If I think.
And you know what? Yeah, as well, Jamie Donnelly is absolutely balling it out for Leyton Orient as well. Apparently, he nearly scored this absolute worldie. He took a shot from about 30 yards out and cannoned off the bar.
I saw the manager talk about him.
What did he say?
He was saying he's really, in the last few weeks, he's really become like really matured and like he's become like an unbelievable like player, and he thinks he has no doubt. He said that he's going to be in the first team for Tottenham when he gets back, and he said, I really wish that we could sign him permanently, but I don't think there's any chance of it. He said,
call him back,
recall him. Yeah, we could need the numbers right now.
Exactly. Like I said to you last week, the guy who I'm speaking to about Leyton Orient, he literally, while I was at the game yesterday, I had about 6 voice notes from him from the game, just waxing lyrical about Jamie Donnelly, about how amazing he was yesterday. And I could just hear the excitement in his voice as well. It's so good to hear, because at the beginning stage of the season, I kept asking, how's Donnelly? And he like barely wanted to even respond to me, like, because he just was playing really poor and he wasn't like getting to grips with it. But now, since that cup performance, he's really fought his way into the team and he's probably their best player of recent weeks.
Incredible. Yeah, so Devine did score. He scored the equaliser to make it 3-3, and then Club Brugge scored the winner in the 94th minute, so gutting for him. But yeah, looks like they're having a good time with it. And now Vuskovic has got more goals than Son this season.
Is that right? Bloody hell.
He's got 6.
That's
Son's
mad.
on 5.
So you've got players that are out on loan at the moment that are really smashing it out. Ashley Phillips is doing really well at Stoke. He's really emerged this season again. You've got Vuskovic, you've got Devine, you've got Donnelly. And
Scarlett has scored a few goals.
Scarlett, yeah, he's been a bit quiet of recent weeks, but he has having a fairly good season. And you've got Manuel Solomon, who's starting to play well as well.
Yeah, did he get another goal this weekend? Or
I'm not sure if he got. I think he got a contribution.
I know
I'm not
last
sure if
week
a goal.
he got a goal and 2 assists, didn't he, in the last game? So. Yeah, looks like our loan players are doing well at the moment.
I mean, we could probably do with all of them right now. That's the reality.
Yeah, and we're just struggling for players.
Yeah.
We've got like kids on the bench.
BLTHFC saying the league form over the last 14 months is completely sackable, and I respect where people stand on that regard. Personally, I don't like any of the potential candidates, so I'm willing to hold out during this spell and see what happens in the Cup and Europe when players are fit. Yeah, I mean, do you feel like the form over the past 14 months is sackable form?
I mean, I guess it's your definition of sackable based on what we've sacked up managers for previously. Yes, it is. I mean, we've sacked managers for way worse, for better form than this.
For way less, yeah.
So, is this sackable form? Probably. I mean, but I also understand the circumstances we're in. I understand, also when we have played well, I can see what we're capable of. I almost think of it as like a young player. When you're judging a young player who's who you're looking to maybe have a future at this club, or you're thinking could be a good player for your club, and he comes in and then he has some really great games and then goes missing for some games. Like, do you judge that young player on his best day or on his worst day to determine whether he could be a good player for you? And you judge him, for me, you judge him on his best day. You judge him on how that shows you the potential that he has. And you hopefully that day, once he grows, he'll become more often. You see that player become, a mainstay in the team, and you see him have these really good performances. But obviously, a young player is going to have a lot of off days and inconsistencies as well. That's kind of how I see this team at the moment. And obviously, we're 18 months into Ange's tenure, and we'd all like to, for sure. I mean, I didn't expect us to be in this position at the beginning of the season at this stage, and it's very disappointing. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm happy about where we are, but I just think changing it now, I just don't. I think the potential upside to keeping with him and having him turn it around compared to changing him and having a potential short-term uptick, and then all of a sudden, we're back to building another team and all these different things. I think we're better off just sticking it to the end of the season, because the potential upside is a lot greater. Because imagine if he does turn it around and all of a sudden we have something really strong to build on, going forward. Whereas if we bring in a new manager, right, and there's maybe. First of all, I don't see a short term. In terms of in the short term, I don't see a massive upswing in results. Maybe we'll get 1 or 2 because of whatever, a change in approach, and that brings just natural a bounce sometimes or whatever, new energy. But I don't see a sustainable short term upswing in results. And also that means come the summer, you're maybe thinking about going a different approach with different players and all these different things, and you're just starting the project again, and we could be in a year's time sitting in the same place. So for me, I just think we're better off sticking with it for now. And look, come the end of the season, we'll sit here and say it just hasn't worked out and we go our separate ways and we then change it then. But I think there's the potential upside for him turning it around is much greater than the upside of a new manager turning it around, if you know what I mean.
But maybe you've been a bit of guilty of judging those young players a bit too much in the past. Harry Winks, you wanted to hold on to those positive performances for a bit too long, and we held on for him for too long. Skippy, we held on to those positive perperformances a bit and maybe held on
too long.
Maybe a season too long, because he did nothing last. He was no impact last year, really.
Yeah, but he has to have that year to know that he's not good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, potentially. Or maybe it's even likened to Dean Marney, comes in the first game, has an initial shoot, and then it's just bad form pretty much from there. So
that was one game.
Yeah, and 1 game, 10 games. That's all we've seen.
I don't think it's all we've seen.
It is for getting general form. Pretty much is.
In terms of a consistent run of games, yeah, but we've seen what we're capable of. I just think the goal should be to try and see if we can do that as consistently as we can and try and get to that level. And if it turns out it's completely impossible, then that's it. Then I can accept that. But I think right now, I think we're better off trying to still sticking with that way rather than just throwing it away and going in a different direction, because then all of a sudden a whole more myriad of problems come, in my opinion. So look, it might be the wrong approach, but I think I'm looking at risk versus reward, and I think the risk versus reward just tips it into Ange's favour, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like we're on a hiding to nothing both ways, to be honest.
Potentially, but in that case, you're even more probably in favour of sticking with Ange, if that's your view, because if you're just going to turn it around, you've got no faith in Levy or whoever to pick a manager or to give him the tools. Then Ange just started this, so you might as well give him the opportunity to try and finish it.
I mean, look, I don't have too much faith that Ange can turn it around, and I don't have too much faith that that Levy will ever give the tools to anyone to turn it around. So. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have faith either way.
End the club, basically.
Yeah.
End the club.
The club's already ended, if you didn't know.
It's ended.
Yeah, it's ended.
I think we're playing on Sunday, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to be. We're playing. Well, the Squid Game guys are playing.
Squid Game. Oh yeah. Get a selfie.
Bleacher Report Football says Tottenham this season, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, at the moment, you kind of do know what you're going to get. That's the problem.
True. At the moment, we're going to get a team that just can't run and just can losing games. That's the reality. But still, you never know with Spurs. You never know.
Pro Tottenham says, you are not convincing me for a second that there's no managers who are capable of appointing who can do a better job at managing club than Ange. We are regressing. I don't believe having a fully fit squad changes the outcomes of matches. Ange is out of his depth. In my opinion, I do probably think it can change the outcomes in some games, but I don't think it can change the outcomes in the majority of games.
I think there are some games there for sure. I mean, I think Liverpool, probably not. I think that Chelsea game, I think definitely it could have been different if circumstances were different. But obviously it went against us in that game. Liverpool, I think we're always going to lose that game. Yesterday, I think maybe could have been different. I think Van de Ven, for example, probably cuts out that pass that goes through to Elanga. I think he probably cuts it out, but unfortunately he wasn't on the pitch. But I think I'm not saying all the games would have been different, but I definitely think we pick up more wins if we have less injuries. And look, I think if we had no injuries, do I see, let's say, just 2 wins in that run? I definitely see at least 2 wins, and that changes the league. All of a sudden, we're a lot higher up in the table. So I think for sure would be in a much better situation if we didn't have this problem, in my opinion.
I would say maybe a better. I wouldn't say much better. That's what I would say. Tottenham Ben, that's not me, but it's another Tottenham Ben saying, struggling to see the problem. Everyone's so reactionary. We are still top.
Yeah, look at that, top league. Incredible. And it's actually a mad title race.
Sonny says, Son did walk to the away fans and clap them. The only players who came closer than Son were the ones who gave away their shirts.
This is in response to saying, my head is so hot, captain too scared to walk all the way over to the away fans, just like the majority of the squad. Well done to the players who did. Manager failed to do as well. Club is a mess and they're absolutely hateable right now. Spineless.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I didn't see Ange after the game come over to the fans. I guess because he didn't. But
was there any toxicity at the end?
No, none.
No, unlike the Bournemouth. Why do you think that Bournemouth game led to so much compared to other games? Just
in this game, everyone darted off. Everyone
was just ready.
Everyone just zoomed to the exits, and then you had like all these kids and other people zoom to the front and try and get people's shirts.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. There was no real toxicity in the away end yesterday towards the players or the manager, only towards the board really a little bit.
So we getting our tape measures out to see which player came closer.
Yeah,
because he's saying Son only a few players came closer than Sonny, but got to get the measurements out.
I think this might be my video.
Is it yours?
I think that might be my video.
Jeez. Well, no, he's got his thing on top right. He's got.
Yeah, but he could have put that there easily.
You reckon? Maybe. I mean, look, I don't know.
That's exactly the same angle I was at.
He might be next to you.
Maybe.
We are see you got some answers to
exactly.
To do.
Finn O'Connor says, how can you beat Ange out when we have 0 centre-backs as well as having a summer where a certain owner focused on reducing the wage bill? Also, Odegaard and Richarlison have been out all season and we have still battered City, United, Villa and West Ham. Yeah, we've battered City, United, Villa and West Ham, but we've also lost to teams that haven't won all season. And the likes of giving up a 2-goal lead at Brighton and lost games where we should never be losing this season. Like, how can you lose to Ipswich at home?
Yeah, that one result in particular is pretty unforgivable. Losing to Ipswich at home, how do you lose that game? But
that from that Ipswich game onwards is when I've really started to question him big time. And the questions get just louder and louder as every game passes.
Coincided with the injury crisis, though, hasn't it?
Yes, but we didn't have the injury crisis at Ipswich.
No, we didn't. No, we should have won that game. There's no excuses. Should have won that game. And we were terrible. It just wasn't a good performance. We were absolutely terrible.
Opta Analyst says, even if Tottenham Hotspur win their next game versus Wolves, this will be their lowest points tally at the midway point of a Premier League season since 08-09 when they had 20 points. So, yeah, that's where we had 2 points from 8 games.
That season, yeah. Not great reading.
And I don't even think we're beating Wolves.
We'll see on Sunday.
Wolves actually...
You didn't think we'd beat Southampton? We won.
That's true. But I also didn't think we'd beat Bournemouth.
Also, you didn't think we'd beat United? We beat them.
Yeah, that's also true. I can't get it right every game.
If you just say, I can't see us winning the next game for the next 10 games or so, you'll probably get a lot of them right.
Definitely. Look, Wolves are looking actually all right at the moment.
To be fair, I reckon a lot of teams probably have their worst points tally for a while this year, not just us.
Maybe.
It's that season, isn't it? You look at the whole league, apart from Liverpool, everyone's probably got... Like Arsenal have their worst points tally since Arteta, I think. But not for the last 3 years, I'd say, anyway. They got their last 3 years.
This is 08-09.
Yeah, it's a long time. I'm saying like United probably have their worst points tally. City probably in a while, probably under Pep, I would say. This is probably their worst points tally.
Yeah, but I mean, City have completely imploded. It's a bit different.
Yeah. Who else is there?
Nottingham Forest.
Forest have their best points tally, probably.
Newcastle probably got a better points tally than last season.
Probably than last year. They had a lot of... Again, look what happened last year. They had a lot of injuries. Remember that season where Liverpool, just after they won the league, they got 99 points, and then they had a massive injury crisis the next year.
Chelsea probably have their best points tally for a while.
I reckon it's decent. I don't think it's like anything special.
Just because it's nothing special doesn't mean it's not better than previous years.
It's better than under Poch and Potter.
Yeah,
But
So
that's it. But I don't
last
think it's
2 or 3 years.
I don't think it's better than when they were actually really good.
I mean, 35 points, still not bad.
It's not bad, but I'm saying it's like it's not a points tally of like one of their elite teams. I don't think.
No, because they're not an elite team.
Yeah.
But Fulham probably better than most years, you know. So I think a lot of teams actually have better points tallies this year than they had last year.
A lot of the middle teams do, but a lot of the top teams probably have their worst ones.
Only Arsenal and City.
And United.
Well, call United a top team.
six. The big six. Let's say.
Spurs Express says, after today's defeat, Spurs are currently closer to the relegation zone than they are to the top 4. That is a disgrace, man. I'm sorry. Injury crisis or no injury crisis, to be closer to a relegation to the top 4 at this stage of a season is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, I mean, no argument there. It is a disgrace. We should never be at any stage of the season close.
I don't understand what manager could ever survive that at Tottenham to be closer to a relegation battle than the top 4 challenge. Like, this is so un-Daniel Levy not to sack a manager at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's what, and I agree, because we have to think differently to how we've been doing things. We've been doing things where we always hit this point and we sack the manager. Maybe we actually, for once, allow him to push through this storm and see what happens at the other side of it. Give him the end of the season instead of sacking him mid-season.
Well, you say you always hit this point. Like, have we hit this point under a Jose or a Conte or a Nuno?
Yeah, we have. We've hit a thing where it looks like it's untenable, sure.
But I mean, closer to relegation than top 4. Were we ever at that point under those 3 managers?
No, probably not.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is like beyond the point.
I mean, under Poch, I think we probably were at that point. I can't remember, but it was like 12 games in, but it was only 12 games.
This is halfway through a season, man.
This is halfway through a season, yeah.
No context Tottenham, just with a picture of David Moyes in a Spurs shirt. Just scroll past this, man. I don't even want anything to do with this post.
Firefighter.
COYS Jordan says, apparently we can't sack a manager who serves up this for the last 25 league games because we have sacked managers previously. This fan base is in such a state it really is. So this is the last 25 games. 15th, bro. 15th.
Yeah,
14 losses and 9 wins.
Yeah, I mean, there's reasons for it, but yeah, it's not good.
What reasons?
I mean, what reasons? We've just been through all of them.
That's in the last like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
games we probably should have won, and also, obviously, when he first went last season was always going to be, difficult to get any sort of consistency. I think this season, obviously, there's less excuse for it. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that's good enough, this form. It's not. Of course, it's not good enough. But I don't think we should sack him just yet. My point being, I think, as I say, the risk versus reward in terms of doing a pros and cons. I think the potential upside to keeping him and him turning around is much greater than the potential upside of sacking him and bringing a new manager and him turning it around. Then that still brings more problems. I think you're better off sticking with him for now. But I'm not going to sit here and say that's good enough. Of course it's not. It's a terrible run of form. Well, it's not. Yeah, look, 25 games is a significant look. And if those 9 wins weren't as convincing as they've been, I'll probably say sack him. But I can see what we're capable of when we're our best, and I'm just hopeful we can get that more consistently. But
I don't know how you keep this hope.
You got to. Otherwise, what's the point of watching?
Maybe it's just the 3 years I have on your following this football club. Maybe it's just that. But yeah, it's not good, man. It's really not good, and I just can't see it turning for the better. Maybe a couple will get a few more wins here and there, but this form over this stretch of time, to have 14 losses and 9 wins over 25 games. Everton have more wins than us. Everton have more points than us. Everton.
Yeah.
It's absolutely disgusting.
I don't like seeing it, that's for sure.
Les Tech Johnson says this says it all, and it's just showing that. Can you scroll down? This says that Ange has less points average than any manager in any season since Pochettino joined the club.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the reality. That's the truth. Even Poch in his last season was doing better than Ange.
Yeah. Tappin Tobe says he's absolutely done. Not sure how we can still be talking about just players or Levy now. He is a significant factor in our inability to defend in games or get the results we need. Regrettably, Ange is not the only one to pour into. We should cut ties now if a suitable replacement can be attained, or ride it out and cut ties in the summer.
Yeah, I'm more of, if we are going to cut ties, I think you do it in the summer, because that would be, look, you give them the season to see out, you see what you can do from now to the end of the season, and then that's the best time to do it. And then if it really, at the end of the season, it becomes clear that you do need to make a change, then you start planning for it then. But I just don't see much upside to doing it now. I really don't.
Well, if the majority feel like Ange is not the right man to take us forward, and we're still in some cups and we've still got something to play for this season, and Ange is seemingly to be throwing things away this season, isn't there some benefit? Because it's very likely we're not going to be in Europe next season.
Well, it's still so early to say.
At this moment in time, it's likely we're not going to be in Europe next season.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, judging by the fact that we're 11th, for sure, and the form we're on, but that can turn very quickly. Very quickly. Two or three wins and it turns.
2 or 3 wins, but that's not to say that, the teams above us could go on better runs as well.
Everyone's playing each other. It's so tight. I think the top, literally those 14 teams, they're all going to be playing each other every week. Everyone's going to be dropping points. It's going to be.
It's true, but
very tight.
But we played Newcastle in 2 games. We lose to them. We're further behind. Yeah. We're going to lose to them probably.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh no, I don't know. I know. I'm not saying.
We are with all the injuries that we've got.
Not necessarily.
Come on.
Not necessarily.
You think we're going to go and beat Newcastle next week?
I don't know who's going to be back then.
The game's on the 4th of Jan. It's next week.
Yeah. It's a week on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we got a whole week rest in between then.
We got Wolves. Yeah, we got a week in between Wolves and Newcastle.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, I don't know. Maybe if we have a start like we did against Chelsea, for example, we'll go 2-0 up, right? Maybe Newcastle won't be able to come back like Chelsea did. I don't know.
Johnny Blaine says Postecoglou's win percentage as Tottenham manager in the PL drops to 48.2%. So where does that stack?
Better than Mourinho, and better than Martial.
Yeah,
not as good as Redknapp.
Mason's got a better win percentage. Nuno's got a better win percentage.
6 games, yeah.
Villas Boas, better win percentage games as well.
AVB, yeah. Again, but AVB, he was, he had a good first season, similar to this, good first season. Then in the second season, we started off okay, and then it just fell apart in December, and we decided to sack him. Who knows what would happen if we didn't do that?
Yeah.
We ended up getting, what happened? We brought in Sherwood. Yeah, he got some okay results. We ended up finishing 6th, and then we ended up getting Pochard, and it got better. But but we would have stuck with him. We didn't hire Poch in mid-season.
You basically just proved your argument wrong.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you have.
No, because
basically, what happened? It led us to the best manager of our Premier League campaign ever. Premier League.
What I'm saying is the upside to sacking AVB. We didn't really get any.
Well, we did, because we ended up with Pochettino.
Yeah, but that was the end of the season, not mid-season.
Yeah, the next season.
Yeah, but
we still got an uptick in form from there until the end of the season.
We ended up finishing 6th. I think AVB was sacked when we were in 7th or something. It didn't change much.
Well, 6th to 7th did it got us European football?
It got us European football. Yes, we got Europe. That's it.
Yeah.
We might have got on to AVB. I don't know what would have happened if it was.
Yeah, you don't know. But if AVB would have stuck in the job and got European football, we probably would have stayed in the job. We would never have had Pochettino.
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
James Moore says a lot of people say Postecoglou has been dealt a bad hand with injuries and depth, but he has to adapt and hasn't shown much signs of doing so. There may be bigger problems at Spurs than the manager, but that doesn't mean he isn't a problem too. 5 points off 9th now. Yeah, it's mad. 5 points off 9th, man. How? I just don't know. Like the excuse. I've never seen a manager have so much excuses and have so much support for being this bad.
I think people just really want him to work. And I think because of the football we can play, and that's why they want it to work, because we've seen we can play really good football. I think under Mourinho and Conte, I think people didn't want it to work. People were like, I don't even want it when we're good. I don't even want to see it. So that's the difference, I guess.
Spurs Express saying Tottenham fans have a new banner to show their dissatisfaction with Daniel Levy. Dissatisfaction for Daniel Levy and oh, that's Ryan. Of course, it's Ryan.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ryan tweeting it or Ryan?
No, Ryan's there on the bottom left.
There he is. Daniel Levy, Enoch, the tombstone.
A couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago. Oh right, they're on the tombstone. He died in 2002. Is that when we 2022? Is that when we died?
No, probably
Still
died
going.
2002. Bareth Gale